All right, they tell me I'm on, and so thank you so much for your patience. Um, Let me start off by giving honor to God and giving honor to the ancestors for this opportunity to be a part of the meeting of the Black minds. I want to thank you all, and I want you to forgive me for not being in attendance personally. It's only because um, I'm still under. I still have not left my law office in several weeks. I've literally lived here because I, like you, am at war. And I will be there in the morning because I'm coming to the Afro Descendant National Meeting, and I'm going to be with all of you, and I'm going to be with the Honorable Silas Muhammad at the Afro Descendant annual meeting and what is called Savior's Day at 3040 Campbellton Road in Atlanta tomorrow at 2 o'clock. I will be there live, and I want to see you and feel you, and I apologize for not being there now. I won't be long here, but I must be strong. I have several important guests who I'm going to introduce here, and then I'm going to let you all back to the live meeting. But these guests are important, and this meeting, the meeting of the Black minds, is very important. So to Brother Chris, Commander Chris Sankara, who's on the line from South Africa and waiting, well, I won't have you waiting long. To Commander Amun Tekala here from the Anubis Self-Defense Group in Texas, uh, I won't leave you waiting long. To Brother Ramzu Yunus, who's on the line here from Egypt, from the banks of the Nile, as he's building self-determination, community opportunities for our people. He's coming on in a moment. I want you to hear from him, and also working to establish land of our own in Africa. We have a couple minutes for Brother James Abraham. Okay, so and hopefully from Black Lives Matter, vice presidential candidate, vice presidential candidate, and that great freedom fighter, Sister Queen Melina Abdullah. I believe she's in here also. So let me just say something briefly and thank Elder Momoja Ajabu for his leadership today. I want to thank the great civil rights leader and activist, Brother John Barnett. Both of these men are my national comrades, international in this struggle. Thank you for your leadership today. Thank you on behalf of the new Black Panther Party. Thank you to Imam Akbar. Thank you for your leadership today. And thank you to all activists and leaders who have come. Thank you to Brother Rashad Singleton from the National Reparations League, that great, strong young man who's come in from Florida and who will be with us tomorrow at the Afro Descendant Nation meeting. I hope I'm thanking also Minister Najee Muhammad from the Lost Foundation of Islam and the Afro Descendant Nation, and that great sister, Queen, that daughter of his, Salia Muhammad. I hoping she's in the meeting and we'll have some strong words because as Black men, we need the Black woman in leadership definitely in this hour. So with those introductions being made, also Sinclair Skinner, Mr. Sinclair Skinner of I Love Black People from Howard University and uh, uh, other Black colleges. He's on the line here. He's just coming back from South Africa, and he has something key. Everybody who's coming on has a program and a plan that they are vitally needed for in this hour to help Black people here in America and throughout the world. And that's why we're coming here today. This is a private leadership meeting of leaders to assess what we have and who we are in what we call a critical time. This is a national crisis. We're telling you today that this is a national crisis, and that white supremacy has launched a further attack against Black and African peoples, and that's why this leadership meeting is being held. It is because the enemy attacks on our people are increasing, and it is because the leadership that exists is dwindling. And therefore, we have called this meeting of the minds, and we have reached out to the strongest organizers we know in that region and some around the country. And we are saying today that we must unite, that we must unite, and we must bring ourselves together in a movement and in a government where we can handle the business that needs to be handled in this hour for our people. That's the premise of that we're coming together. And that I have invited and we have invited the strongest Black organizations, leaders, and organizers to come and tell you, one, what they have to offer for our people, what they can do in this hour, and the number two, their willingness to do it in unity with each other, so that you as leaders and our people will know that we have some kind of defense in this hour, that we have some kind of leadership in this hour as Black people, African people are facing a myriad of attacks. So I will begin to close by saying that what I have to bring to the table, what Malik Shabazz has to bring to this table is in my capacity as the lead counsel of Black Lawyers for Justice. I bring to the table Black Lawyers for Justice, and I bring myself to the table as a attorney who's fighting in the federal courts and state courts against police brutality across this country. I mean, that's the reason why I'm delayed in coming now, is because I'm fighting so many police departments. And that takes a lot of work and evidence and fighting behind the lines that I can be counted on in this movement. I can be counted on in this coalition as a warrior lawyer, as a attorney and freedom fighter, and I can be counted on to carry out what my mentor, Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and the ancestors wanted me to carry out, and that is to be on the front lines for our people in a legal capacity. And to the best of my ability, I am here, and my other attorneys are here, and we're going to do the best we can, and we're going to do uh, uh, very good deeds inside of this movement and this coalition. So that's one promise I make. My second capacity that I'm here as a political organizer. I am here as the former national chairman of the new Black Panther Party. Greetings and Black power to all of those who are in the new Black Panther Party that are in the audience, and to those who will watch this broadcast and will be in the new Black Panther Party. I want to say that as the former chairman, I know quite a bit about organizing. I know quite a bit about Black nationalism. I know quite a bit about self-determination. And so I'm here to offer my political organizing experience to help in this hour. And that's a reason why that a lot of people are on this line and in the audience today. This is a sign of the kind of political organizing that I can help to bring about, and we must go much further than we've gone before. So I'm also here in my capacity as an organizer, as the conductor for the Afro-Descendant Nation under the leadership, uh, which is a coalition government that was founded by the Honorable Silas Muhammad, the Afro-Descendant Nation. And so, in my close, I want to urge everyone to join in with the Afro-Descendant Nation. No matter what organization you're in, I'm in Black Lawyers for Justice. Others are in the New Black Panther Party. We want you to give the Afro-Descendant Nation Coalition, our government, our movement, give us a chance. We've been organizing for several years to bring the strongest leaders together under the banner of full and complete reparations. And now it's time for this coalition, for this movement to play a heavy role in the future of our people. And so I'm urging you all to when you hear from the Afro-descendant nation, which includes almost everybody, I mean, many of your hosts, they are also members of the Afro-descendant nation. Elder Memoji Ajabu, Sheikh Imam Akbar, Brother Rashad Singleton, Brother John Barnett. We're all leaders of our organization, but we're joining into a coalition in the Afro-descendant nation, and we intend to stand up in this hour, and we intend to organize in this hour, and we intend to fight the evils of white supremacy and white racism in this hour. We have a president of the United States who is a madman. We have a white supremacist, Confederate leaning madman in the White House named Donald Trump. And I don't want you to think that Donald Trump is the first madman in the White House. Donald Trump has followed a long line of mad men in this mad house called the White House, which has oppressed, enslaved, brutalized, lied, cheated, and robbed Black people for the last 450 years here in America and throughout the world. That this is the latest robber in a line of robbers, the latest thief in a line of thieves, but this is a bold devil who's in the office. This is a devil in a line of devils, but this is a big devil compared to the other devils because he's carrying out what others of our enemies have longed to carry out all along. This devil, Donald Trump, is attacking South Africa. He's attacking the sovereign and human rights of indigenous people in Palestine around the world. He's an imperialist. He's a transactional imperialist seeking to move and take lands around the world under his illegal and illicit white authority around the planet. And so I could go on about this beast, the current president of the United States, but I will say that in the midst of Babylon, in the midst of this modern Sodom and Gomorrah, in the midst of this modern oppressive empire, that I have decided, and we have decided, that we are going to take a stand and we will resist and we will organize our people for self-determination, self-defense, and for land and territory of our own. And we're going to fight back here, fight where we can, fight in the courtroom, fight in the streets, fight to raise our people, fight to lift our people, and we are going to fight white world supremacy. And that's all I'm going to say right now, because my comrades can say the rest. So I thank you so much for hearing me. Black power to y'all in this audience. I'm sorry I can't be with you, but I love you, and I'm on fire, and I'm going to bring that fire tomorrow. And I want to bring to you now from South Africa, a longtime comrade of mine fighting in what's called Azania, who the original people of that land have named. My comrade for many, many years, a man we can trust, a man that can tell us what's going on in South Africa. He'll speak to you for a few moments, and we're going to move back to the live audience. But you must hear from our representative, our member of the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania, our Black Panther leader in Azania, one of the strongest and most experienced Black men and commanders on the planet, Brother Chris Sankara. Can you hear him now?
Revolutionary greetings, comrade. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Let's bring him to center stage. Chris Sankara.
Yeah, my name is Chris Sankara. I'm the PAC National Organizer, Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania National Organizer. I'm also the chairman or the founding member of the Worldwide Pan-African Movement, which currently has more than 40 organizations, actually more than 60 organizations as far as Ethiopia, Sudan. We have comrade here also. I want to introduce, we haven't seen, but Ambassador Tony Jaja is now residing in originally is from Sudan, but is now residing in Uganda. Please welcome comrade Tony Jaja. He's also our member. He's also the member of the our spokesperson from the Worldwide Pan-African Movement. As you know, for years we have known each other, comrade. My brother, comrade Dr. Malik Zulu Shabazz, attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz, and I know also comrade Sheikh Imar and also comrade Ajabu, whom he also was here in Azania about 2 years back. So yeah, I know a lot of comrades here. I just want to say Black Power, comrade, Black Power. And in my organization, we say Israeli, to meaning Africa is ours, land is ours. That's what we say, Israeli. So as he said, my brother, comrade, attorney, Dr. Malik Zulu Shabazz, that we have known each other. Yeah, here in Azania, we are facing a lot of things. As you know, the madmen from the United States snakes of America, Donald Trump, has recently, what do you call, is trying to support white supremacy here, calling all whites the racist whites here in South Africa to come to America and giving them support. And he has also closed the so-called USA aid, not supporting Africa, especially Azania, South Africa. And he's busy attacking South Africa in order for us to accept what the whites are imposing on us. They are refusing for us to expropriate the land, so-called expropriation of land, which is not really addressing the issues. Is not really addressing the issues here in Azania. So they are attacking Azania, and is trying to promote white to bring to take back the power to white people, so that they can still run the country and continue promoting or advancing white supremacy. Yes, indirectly we are very, very much affected with these issues because, as you know, that some of the things, some of the funds of so-called USA aid, which actually, personally, I'm very much happy that he closed that one, because when you look at the so-called USA aid, it supports a lot of wrong things in Africa. It supports, this is the money that is being used by CIA to support fraudulent elections. It also supports to install a puppet government, as it does in Africa. And it also supports illegal protest in Africa to destabilize our country. It also support terrorism in Africa. We have seen in Nigeria where Al-Shabaab get funds, the terrorist organization that terrorizing the people of Nigeria, which is supported by so-called USA aid. There are many countries where there's wars in Africa. They support this. It is supported by this so-called USA aid. So for me, indirectly, I'm excited. I'm also happy that these funds are closed, although some people are complaining that it affects the medical, people with HIV and all of that, which is not necessarily true. But whenever, most of our countries, in terms of our in other things, it also affects the economy as well. So in terms of economic law. But what is important now as Africans is that we really need to unite all over the world. We have so much in common. Our struggle is so much, because if you go everywhere in the world, where there's a black man or an African man, there's still they're still under attack by white supremacists. We've in the past years we've witnessed where in the USA most of our comrades are being massacred or killed by the white supremacist police everywhere in the US. Yeah, our people in Azania or even Africa, we're still marginalized. We still here in Azania, we don't have control over the land. We don't have control over the economy. The 70% of the land is still controlled by minority whites, of which our people, more than 70% of our land still, and the economy still controlled by whites. I would say 95% of the economy is under whites, and then 70% of the land is controlled by whites. Our people and whites are making 5% of the population here in Azania, but they still run the country, they still run the power, they still run our economy. Our people continue to be landlessness, they continue to be marginalized in poverty and all of that. So people mustn't think that Azania we are free. Our people are very much living in the shacks, squatter camps. You have been here, Comrade Malik. You've been here, Comrade Ajabu. You have witnessed how our people are still marginalized. South Africa might look beautiful on the towns, everything and what, but all those things are controlled by the Jews. If you go to Sandton, Sandton is a very beautiful town. If you go to Johannesburg, it's a very beautiful town. If you go elsewhere in Cape Town, everywhere, it's a very beautiful. But all of that is controlled by the whites. They still control the companies. They still control the industrial. They still control the mining industry. They still control the farming. They control everything. So in all, our people are still in poverty. If you go to Zimbabwe today, Zimbabwe, it's being punished because they grab the land back to their own and give it to their own people. But this sanction, it's affecting them because they aren't able to sell their diamonds. They are able to sell because of the sanctions. They're unable to sell their minerals and so on and so on. So everywhere in Africa, most of the economy is not controlled, it's still controlled by white supremacy. So we've got so much. But I will say our struggle is most common because if you go to anywhere in the world, whether you go to Germany, whether you go to United Kingdom, whether you go to Germany, whether you go anywhere in the world, our people are still in poverty. Where they're supposed to be independent in Africa, they bring wars so that the Africa cannot be stable. For example, if you go to DRC, DRC is still under attack today. You have seen the M23 attacking the people are still much. The people, they don't still control the mining industrial, the mineral resources, and the resources are still controlled by the same Western companies. So our people are very much in poverty. There's slavery labor there. Children, women, young children, and all of that are still struggling. So in all, we still have a role for our people to be freed. Our people have not even received the reparation. You remember during slavery, our people are enslaved. We have not received our reparation. We're still fighting for the reparation because of the slavery law. So even if you go to US, our people have not received the reparation. So there's a much to be done in terms of our struggle to free our people. Isolate for now. I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's give Brother Chris Sankara from Azania, which is called South Africa. Let's give him a strong black hand. Strong black hand. We're going to move fast. We know you all are live and we want to defer to that, but I think you can get a sense here. I think here, what you'll get here on this screen and in that live audience is that there is hope. There are some strong black leaders and black people here that we know that are our friends. And the friends that I'm going to bring on have friends. That this is a movement. And this is this is something that black people can depend on. And so I'm anxious to hear from these leaders because they're going to tell this audience and tell these other leaders why we should have hope in this hour and why we should not give up. So let me move down the line here. What I want to do here is bring the a black woman on next. Bring her on for a few moments, and she's the leader of Black Lives Matter grassroots in Los Angeles, California, and she's all over the country, all over the world. She's always in Washington, D.C. She's one of the best organizers anywhere in the United States of America. That's why she was chosen by Dr. Cornel West as his vice presidential candidate. When it comes to resistance, she knows something about that. When it comes to resistance, when it comes to agitating and helping to tie up this system, she knows something about that. She's very Black conscious. And so anybody that has any questions about Black Lives Matter, let me tell you this, that this is probably the best that Black Lives Matter has produced. And this is Black Lives Matter that we as a Black power community can absolutely trust and depend on. She's fighting everywhere from the LA fires to Palestine and for Black lives in between. I want you to hear from my sister, my Howard University alumni friend, and a Black woman that I have trust in to work with, and you should have trust in to work with, and our people trust for our future, the Honorable Melina Abdullah. Let's hear from our queen, please.
Thank you so much, Brother Malik. Grateful to be on with you all, and I'm grateful to hear from so many of you. Brother in South Africa, Zania, I was really, really inspired by what you all are doing there. And also, it's my child, my oldest child, just got back. That's their second home. They're planning to they're about to graduate from Howard. They're talking about moving there. So I'm glad that there's leadership moving that we can plug in with. So I organize with Black Lives Matter Grassroots. Black Lives Matter Grassroots is the real work of Black Lives Matter. We've been doing work for Black Lives Matter. I was one of the original members, and we were born July 13th, 2013, the day that Trayvon Martin's killer was acquitted. And we've been moving work on the ground. I always say that we stand on front lines, not on red carpets. So whatever it is that you've been seeing, if it looks like, talking points from the Democratic Party, or it looks like people are buying their way into rooms, it's because the platforms and money and good name of Black Lives Matter that we put our lives on the line to build, that is built out of the spilled blood of our people, that is built out of the sweat and tears of organizers, was stolen about 3 years ago. And so you have three highly paid consultants who are the hijackers in chief. And I believe in naming names. One of them is a Black Zionist. You got it right, a Black Jewish Zionist named Shalomia Bowers. Another is in Atlanta, and you may see her because what they've been doing is spending that $100 million that they initially stole. And then they have been raising money since. They've been spending that money basically buying sponsorships, and her name is Cecily Gay. And then the third one's name is Dejanay Parker. We have to remember what we've experienced is not new, that the enemy is deathly afraid of Black people organizing and Black people being unafraid and unwilling to succumb to their system, unwilling to succumb to evil. Yesterday, as we all know, was the 60th remembrance of Minister Malcolm X, our revered ancestors' day of sacrifice. And he reminded us that we have to know the difference between good and evil. And we have to align ourselves with good. And those who align themselves with evil become evil. And so it's important that as we talk about unity, we are united around something. And if the people who are seeking alignment are aligned around their own selves and their own self-interest and their own enrichment, they have no place in this movement. But for everyone else, those of us who prioritize the freedom of Black people, those of us who understand that No one is free until all of us are free. We have to, George Jackson said, it's time for us to settle our quarrels, that fascism is already here. And he was writing in 1970 when he said this. So he was a little bit ahead of the game, right? Fascism is absolutely here, though, in 2025. And I don't mean some fake version of fascism, and this is not fascism light. What the Elon Musk, Donald Trump regime seek to do is absolutely evil. And the only way that we overcome that evil, the only way that we do the work that I know that my Creator has called us to do, is to align ourselves around good, to make sure that we understand what operational unity looks like, unity without uniformity. So if you are doing work in a spiritual space, if yours is religious work, that is not a threat to me doing work on the front line, right? We need to be doing work in every space that we stand in, and we need to support each other. So I've only been given a few minutes, so I don't want to say much other than grateful for the leadership of my brother, Malik Zulu Shabazz, grateful for how he's pulled us together in many different ways, including today, but also the work around reparations, the work around police abolition. And I can blatantly say that I am an abolitionist, summoning the spirit of our revered ancestor, Mama Harriet Tubman, that we absolutely have to topple systems of harm and build new systems of care. We have to align ourselves, and we have to commit ourselves to doing good work as a global Black Pan-Africanist family, remembering that they don't control everything. They don't control everything. We can have freedom here, but we also do have a home, as our brother from Azania is reminding us. We have a home as well, right? We have earned our place here, and we come from somewhere. So I just want to offer that. I want to encourage everybody. If you're not already following BLM Grassroots, we are BLM Grassroots on all social media. We're rebuilding our social media platforms under BLM Grassroots. And to look at the work that we're doing, it's blmgrassroots.org. If there are things that we should be moving that we may be unaware of, please reach out so that we can support. Again, we're 39 chapters around the country, 22 more will be onboarding in May. And we look to be in most states, 43 state formations already. So we look forward to continuing our work with you and to making Black Lives Matter.
Thank you so much. Please, let's give her the strongest of Black hands. Let's give Sister Melina Abdullah strongest of Black hands. And thank you all who are there in Atlanta, who are a part of this exclusive private session. I'm gaining optimism and gaining confidence through every speaker because I know that who you're hearing from this afternoon, that we're lifetime organizers. We have brought you lifetime professional organizers here that should give you confidence in this hour. And I thank everyone. So we're talking about here self-determination, self-defense, and fighting back. We're talking about self-determination, doing what we must do for ourselves, which includes land and territory for our people here and abroad. We're talking about taking complete command of what we must do in this hour with the rise of MAGA and fascism in America. We're talking about self-defense wherever we are. We're talking about fighting back. And we're also acknowledging that we are a worldwide community, that we are 2 billion strong. We face an imperialist enemy, but we are a universal people who have power, 2 billion strong. I want to bring on to you next here from the self-defense community. I want to bring on to you my brother, a commander who I have organized with on the front lines of the self-defense community, and a friend that I respect. And he and everybody who's coming on this line are going to tell you what they have to offer in this hour and how they support us doing it together. Okay, and so I wanted you to hear now at this meeting of the minds, Commander and Brother Amun Tekula from the mighty Anubis group in Texas and throughout the country. Brother Amun Tekala, my honors, brother, you have the floor.
Peace, brothers and sisters. For my brothers in Islam, I say assalamu alaikum. My brothers in Comedicism, I say tepu. And my brothers in even my Hebrew Israelite brothers, I say shalom. Sorry about that. I go by the name of Dr. Amun Tekala Matepu. I have the honor and the duty of being the national commander of a tactical response unit called Anubis. Anubis is 7 states deep now. We started in 2017, and it's all with the intent of basically forming a tactical unit in regards to support for our people. We have the marchers, yes. Where are the warriors? And what I mean by is we're talking about the dark times that we're in, which is very true. Okay. We need is an armed protective response. Not an armed march response, an armed, protective, armed, knowledgeable, tactical response. Which means if we were to be invaded by, say, the KKK or the neo-Nazis, much like you saw in Canton, Ohio, we would do something to the effect of be able to link up with these people. Yes, sir. Well, I'll be able to intercept these people and run them out of our communities. And what I love about this is true Pan-Africanism. This is not just people in the United States sitting down saying what we need to do around the world. Homage to Dr. Malik. He got everybody from around the world. Thank you. Because that is Pan-Africanism. That is Pan-Africanism. Now we can all do this on one united. This is true unity. This is when we get everything on one script. So what can Anubis do? I am well prepared to give my tactical brain to each and every brother and sister out there that has a tactical unit. You will know knowledge of LPs, which is listening posts, OPs, which is observational posts, RASs, which is rear area security, final protective line, everything that I learned as an operator in the Marine Corps for 18 years, I wanted to give to you. All right. As well as understanding the science of this thing called racism. I tell people racism is nothing more than a chemical in a formula. And they go, what do you mean? I said, have you ever heard of eugenics by Adolf Hitler? And they said, no. Well, study that in depth, because when you do that, now you know why there's racism. And when you do that, you can counter the racism. All right. Also, being an owner of a construction company, what else am I willing to lend so far as knowledge? I'm a licensed multi-craft. I'm an electrician, I'm a plumber, I'm a carpenter, I'm a masonry guy. So at the end of the day, I can give you all the information that you need necessary to make you successful, to pass on to your people, and we could do it virtual. Well, I don't necessarily have to be there. I could do it virtual and give everybody classes. Why? Because I think it is important, yes, one, to put our differences to the side, but two, at least be on the same page. Even if everybody's not friends, everybody's still on the same page tactically, because we have to survive and live this thing out. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Let's give him a strong black hand. Let's give him a strong black hand.
Black Cloud.
Give him a strong black hand. Ramzu, I got you coming next. But let's give Brother Amun a strong hand, because he's centrally located in the self-defense movement inside of the United States of America, which includes a significant amount of self-defense training, which is needed on a national level. And he knows as well as I know that it was just 3.5 years ago when we all gathered in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and we probably had about 1,000 armed self-defense men. And that represented a sign of the potential strength of what we have in America and throughout the world. I'm hoping we can get back to that level and learn those lessons. It's sorely needed in this hour as white supremacy and hostility towards blacks is well armed and increasing. He also told you that he is a licensed carpenter. He is a licensed contractor. And we in the Afro-descendant nation, we're building a skills bank. And part of this is bringing everybody with a lot of key people with different skills together. So I want you to understand that we have not only is he a defense man, he's a contractor and builders, and that's part of self-determination also. And this meeting of the minds includes building as well as defense and other key factors. I want to welcome Ambassador Tony Jaja, my brother. Ambassador, honors. Thank you for coming on and spending this time with us. I'm sure we'll hear from you also before we turn it back to the audience there in Atlanta. So I'm going to move quickly, but I want to thank you. This is going to be the first of many sessions, and we're moving around the country. We have to further organize our people. I want to come to Africa, then I'm going to come back to you, Sinclair in America. And then with Brother Abraham, I'm going to turn it back to Momoji Ajabu in Atlanta, the elder. Okay, so I want to bring to you now a young man who is 100% life dedicated to self-determination for our people. I've known him for many years. My chairman and my ally and my best friend, the Honorable Hashim Nzinga, God rest his soul, they were close. And Brother Ramzu Yunus, who is a human rights leader and self-determination advocate. He's normally known for being around America, but he's often seen around the world. And he's on the banks of the Nile River right now. And he's on the banks of the Nile doing something that's very important for us. And he's standing up. He's publicly saying that this is a solution to the tyranny of Donald Trump. It's self-determination, and he's on the ground carrying it out. So without further delay, I want you to hear from the banks of the Nile, my brother, 100% dedicated. I respect what he's doing and who he is, the Honorable Brother Ramzu Yunus. Let's give him a round of applause, and brother, you have the floor.
All right, salute. Thanks, Comrade Malik. You're doing a great job. I appreciate you. I'm sure everyone else appreciates you. I also appreciate the distinguished leaders who spoke before me, Brother Chris Sankara, Comrade Melina Abdullah, and also Comrade Amun from Anubis. I'm a human rights policy officer, by the way, but I'm here in Egypt at the moment. But my greatest work, and the greatest work period on earth, remains on the soil of the United States of America. The name of this meeting was Meeting of the Black Minds in this time of national crisis. I like that title. I used to look up the definition of national crisis, and the definition I read and saw was a situation or time at which a nation faces intense difficulty, uncertainty, danger, or serious threat to people and national systems and organizations, and a need for non-routine rules and procedures emerge accompanied with urgency. We are in a crisis. We've been in a crisis. Of course, Donald Trump kind of upped the ante on the crisis, but we've been in a crisis. So this crisis means we have to do something with urgency right now. Non-routine, I like that definition. Non-routine, meaning the rules and the procedures that we have been doing, we have to scrap them. If you're dealing with civil rights, scrap it. Just like Dr. King said and Malcolm X said before him, we can't deal with civil rights. We must deal with human rights. Yes, Dr. King abandoned the civil rights struggle in 1967 at a meeting in Frogmore, South Carolina. So let's abandon the civil rights. We're dealing with human rights, God-given natural rights that the United States can't amend. They can't rescind. Donald Trump can't rescind. So that's our power right now, is in human rights. I heard a meeting the other day in the build up to the Savior's Day meeting where it was stated that the Afro-descendant nation, the Nation of Islam, has no power to get reparations. We actually have all the power to get reparations. It's in our hand. It's not in the government's hand.
Each.
Right, a right is a power. Why? Because power involves resistance. I'm a power lifter. If those who follow me on social media see me every now and then doing my power lifting. I'm also an electrician, and both of them involve power. But power really can't exist. It's proportional to resistance. You have to have resistance if you want to display power. So a right actually has no resistance, no lawful resistance to your right. So we have ultimate power in the form of a particular right called the right of self-determination. The right of self-determination gives us the right to take over where we live, declare independence, if the collective agrees with us. And I think we are all top organizers on this call. We all can get the collective of our community to agree to be independent of the United States government's power. So especially now that Donald Trump is in power, we're wondering, what can we do? The Democratic Party, which is black people's so-called savior, has thrown in the towel. Some of you saw the news conference a week or so ago where Hakeem Jeffries said, we have no leverage. There's nothing we can do. It's the Republicans' government. They run it. What can we do? We have no leverage. He threw in the towel because he's right. We have no leverage on the civil rights within the American government, especially as a minority in a minority. The Democratic Party is a minority party now in the government, and we are a minority as black members of that. So we definitely don't have any win. So no, we have no leverage whatsoever as black people under civil rights. But under human rights, our right of self-determination, we have all the power because we have the power to take power wherever we live and stop police brutality. I'm sorry, Malik, we're going to have to fire you because when we assert self-determination, we don't need the police brutality cases anymore. We're going to need you for your top organizing, and then maybe to be our president or whatever you want to call it. But that's the power that we have. We do have leverage. We do have power. We can go and take control. Our great leader that was on earlier, Sister Comrade Melina Abdullah of Black Lives Matter, one of the top organizing forces in the past, I don't know, what, 10 or 15 or 10 years, 11, 12 years. We saw millions hit the street behind Black Lives Matter. But whether Black Lives Matter adopted a human rights framework and went out there and said, look, we're not protesting and acknowledging your power. We're utilizing our human right of self-determination. So all the streets that we march in, all the cities we march in by the millions, we leave there with power and control of the police. That's a human right called self-determination. That's what we have a right to assert. We have a right to go into all of these cities. When we were in Ferguson, Missouri, there was enough of us to take over Ferguson, Missouri under human rights, under self-determination. We couldn't do it under civil rights. So brothers and sisters, I'm a human rights policy officer. What I have to offer is, first of all, my consultation and my thinking that comes from Malcolm X, came from just nature in general. God himself said, govern yourself. Take over, he told the children of Israel, assert your right of self-determination over Egypt. Take over that land and govern yourselves. Now, United States, the Pharaoh himself has written it into law saying, black people, you have a right of self-determination. 2016, United States government had a hearing on self-determination. The chairman of that hearing, Dana T. Rohrabacher, Congressman Rohrabacher, said, all we have to do is hold a vote, and it's adios to the United States government. So that's what the African Descendant Nation has been speaking of. That's what we have been organizing in Detroit since 2016. You all have followed us. Y'all saw us with tens of thousands of people responding, hitting the streets in Detroit, to the extent that the federal government had to come in and take over from Highland Park in Detroit to deal with us and threaten us. And that's why we do need people like Anubis, those tactical forces, because I was told, I'm not going to throw them under the bus, but I was told by a high-ranking city official in Detroit and Wayne County that we do need a force because he acknowledged that his own police force was illegally, forcibly denying us to assert self-determination by interfering with our vote. So we need all of those on board. But that's what we should be doing in this hour, if this is a national crisis. If you don't see it as a crisis, keep doing what you're doing and allow women to be shot in the face at point-blank range by police. Keep allowing that. But if this is a crisis, let's act like a crisis and let's respond with non-routine procedures, meaning don't do what we've been doing, and let's do something different with urgency. Right now, somebody's going to get killed by police today, tomorrow, or next week. So how are we going to respond to that crisis? Let's organize ourselves. Let's mobilize like Black Lives Matter did, is hit these streets and say, look, we're declaring independence. Now automatically Donald Trump has no power over us. That's our leverage. So Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic Party, go ahead and throw in the towel. That's y'all civil rights arena that you all are dealing with. But black people, we're responding to this urgency and we are declaring our independence from this system via our right of self-determination. And that's all the leverage we need. That is ultimate power because it can't be resisted lawfully. That's all I have to say, brothers and sisters. Salute.
Okay, salute and black power to y'all. Let's give them a strong black hand a strong black hand for such a strong statement. Brother Ramzu, I guess we can follow what you do on your Facebook page, right?
Yes, sir. We will be in Detroit. I'm coming back to America. We will be in Detroit July the 4th. If you see the picture on my screen behind me, it's a humanitarian intervention because there is a crisis, like you called this meeting. And we're going to respond to that crisis by hitting the ground and taking the city via our right of self-determination. And hopefully other cities will follow suit. And you all are welcome to join us. And even if you want to do it in your city, human rights policy officers, we will help you organize. But it's time. It's a national crisis. And this is our response. Love you all. Salute.
Thank you so much, Brother Ramzu Yunus, a great man and a great organizer in this hour. Let's give him a strong hand, everybody. We're getting to know each other. Okay, Atlanta, we're going to turn it back to y'all in the audience in a minute. We thank you for your patience. I want to say this, Comrade Chris St. Cara, this is, sir, we recognize that this is a worldwide Pan-African movement. We recognize that we are on the Western Front of this movement, and we recognize the necessity for struggling internationally in this hour. I also want to say that we must have a strong new Black Panther Party. We must have inside of the United Snakes of America. We must have a strong Panther Party like it was in the past, and it should be in the future. That's something that I'm advocating for. Okay, now and what MAGA, I almost want to call them maggots. What the maggots are doing for white people in America, we have to organize something that's strong to do what we want to do for our people in America. And I do echo Ramzu's comments. We must respond, but we're not reactionaries. We must and going to respond, but we are revolutionaries. Okay, so now I want to bring to you my comrade from Howard University, and who has expertise in Africa, has expertise in finance, and who overall is a committed freedom fighter, and he's an ally with high intelligence and connections that we must respect, and that this potential coalition has power that we must respect. So let me bring on to you from I Love Black People, Brother Sinclair Skinner. Our last official action was he was in Ukraine. We were helping to get Black people out of Ukraine when the war started, and he was right in there in Ukraine with our allies in the Panther Party from England, and he can tell you himself what he has to offer and what his position is right now. I want you to hear from the Honorable Brother Sinclair Skinner. Please receive him right now. He just got back from South Africa. Please receive him.
All right. Thank you so much, and thank you for all the speakers that came before, and definitely thank all the ancestors that came before that we stand on the shoulders of. And one of the things we always talk about, we don't believe in generational chauvinism. Every generation has something to offer. So we definitely are thankful for this opportunity. And Malik, thank you for providing it. I know it's very short time, but as he said, my name is Sinclair Skinner. My background is engineering, so I'm in the tech space. So when he brings up finance, I'm someone who was early in the Bitcoin space back in 2012. So we've done lots in cryptocurrency in order to, create another system for us to do transactions and not depend on the U.S. dollar and the hegemony that and violence that supports that. But with that being said, I Love Black People is literally like a digital green book where we're literally building a safety net to protect Black people from Afrophobia, the fear, irrational fear, hatred of those perceived to be of African descent, and racism by creating a safety net, just like the original Green Book did, identifying safe spaces throughout the world and not just in the United States, and being able to connect those spaces beyond just places to eat, places to sleep, like the original Green Book. But we're talking about education. We're talking about building our own global Pan-African education system without owning one school, by connecting the Pan-African educators and schools throughout the world so that we can literally have our own system. The same thing with healthcare, connecting the doctors that care about our people, and without owning one doctor's office, being able to connect that. And we're focusing, especially with this MAGA movement, on the DMV area, the DC metropolitan Maryland, Virginia area, because with that as our model, we know that we have a high concentrations of brothers and sisters literally from all over the world in DC metropolitan area. And even with the onslaught of gentrification, many of the black folks that moved out to DC didn't move to Idaho, they moved to Suitland. They moved to Lanham. So we're still in the area, and we have some of the best of our people. We just need to properly organize them. And we think using technology is one of the most scalable, efficient ways where we can connect our people, just like we're on this Zoom call. But we think we should control those platforms. So I Love Black People is a platform that's created by Pan-Africans for Pan-Africanists so that we can build with each other, not just socialize with each other. So if you get a chance, download the app. It's on iOS, it's on Android. We have meetings every Saturday. We have a Pan-African history class with Dr. Tyreen Wright from Cooney University that we've been doing since before COVID started. So our activities are global. We also have an office in Zimbabwe, Harare. We're Mugabeists, where our co-founder Christopher Mapindera is from Zimbabwe, and we just opened a tech hub. A tech hub in the largest convention center in Harare, the Harare International Convention Center. If you come by there, you can see us there. We got staff in the office with a shared workspace, and we're also working with Black women farmers. This will be our second cohort of Black women farmers, and this time we're using greenhouse, using hydroponics. One of the things happening right now, one of our categories, like the original Green Book, is food, but that's not just restaurants. This is about food security. That's about the farm. So we got to get the farm to the fork. So that when we talk about building our own systems, we're talking about a food system that's not just about consuming, but producing. When I say that, it's important that we take that a step further. So in Zimbabwe, we come up with systems that allow our brothers and sisters to use technology in a scalable way that allows them to produce the food that's needed to feed their families as well as the world. And then in addition to that, and locally in the states, as Brother Malik said, I'm a Howard alum as well as an alum of Tuskegee University, Booker T. Washington, one of the first Pan-Africanists, if you want to talk about the movement as it relates to the early 20th century. And we're literally doing a thing called Buy Black Bibb Street, the first Greenwood. Before there was a Tulsa, Oklahoma, there was a Tuskegee. And Tuskegee was literally the place, and it's one of the surviving cities that's a black city that in the heart of Alabama, Macon County, where we're literally buying black real estate on Bibb Street, which is a part of the original Greenwood, where again, it's about sovereignty, it's about self-determination, and we're doing it here, we're doing it back home on the continent. No matter where we are, we need to continue to organize. And if you're interested, please participate using the technology that I just told you about with our application, and leverage that to share information. If you know some good black doctors, some good lawyers, and we do know Brother Malik, but we want to make sure that we're able to organize with these brothers and sisters to create systems that can protect ourselves so our people can live without fear. So as it relates to the Bitcoin space, I'm a person that saw this. We were the first startup to get a license from the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. So we were the first startup, a black-led startup with black developers. When people talk about TikTok doesn't have developers from Mars. We got just as many developers right here in the United States and Africa that have the ability. But we need to be using our talents to help ourselves and not help other people. But using this technology, crypto, Bitcoin, we were able to do remittances in Zimbabwe from the United States to Zimbabwe. And we were at least granted that license under Gabriel Mugabe. So we were very thankful for his leadership. May he rest in peace. His birthday was February 21st, so we just missed his birthday. So if you didn't get a chance to celebrate, his work is it's still something that we benefit from. I think that's all I have to say. But just thank everyone here on this, august body of leaders and wonderful Black people. Thank you so much, Brother Malik Shabazz, for your inspiration all these years. And thank you for supporting my dry cleaners. Used to bring your dirty clothes. I appreciate you for helping me on my little entrepreneur journeys. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome, my brother. Man, let's give Sinclair, Honorable Sinclair Skinner, a strong Black hand. We're
Black
coming
power.
to the end of the video session, but I'm hoping y'all that are watching and also online that you have appreciated what you're witnessing. Every leader that has come on this line is not just talking theory, but they have a track record of action, and they are producing right now. Mr. Skinner just explained to you what he has going on in Africa, in Zimbabwe right now. While Ramzu is acting in his boots on the ground in Africa right now. I'm boots on the ground on this enemy right here in these courtrooms right now. Chris Sankara is on the front line with the attack from white South Africa, who's trying to get a comeback through Trump and Elon Musk. He's on the front lines right now. The blessing is that you can see that we have some leadership that, if properly organized, that we can do something constructive about this national crisis. So I want to bring on lastly, before I bring on lastly, then two brief statements, and then I'm gonna turn it back to Atlanta. Is first, Brother Abraham. I want you to understand Brother Abraham, who has his designs and plans on East Africa. He's a close friend of mine. I've joined his organization also. And like I intend to join Black Lives Matter, and I want to be on the legal board or the advisory board for Black Lives Matter. I've joined Brother Abraham's organization because I believe that we in solidarity and meaningful relationships. So, Brother Abraham, can you address us? Can you get right to what you're doing and how you can contribute? Because I invited you here because I figured that this kind of meeting would be right up your alley, my brother.
Yes.
Right here.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. And peace and blessings to the group. And thank you, Brother Shabazz, for the opportunity. And I've been listening to the speeches from leadership in various genres. Pleasure to be here. I'm Jamel Abraham, and I'm going to make this as short as I can. I grew up in America. I'm an American citizen. I follow, there's a part in the Bible that says, know of a surety, God was talking to Abraham. Your seed's going to be in a strange land. They're going to be among a strange people, and you're going to be afflicted. And that's going to happen about 400 years. And after you come out with great substance. I'm paraphrasing, but I'm giving you the basic gist of it. I went to Michigan State University, and I've been graduating in electrical engineering, and I've been practicing electrical engineering in this country for 50 years. So what? I grew up, though, in the Nation of Islam. My parents were Muslims, so it made me have this black thing. Couldn't get out of it, though the life of engineering is very good in the United States. But Trump knows something. He knows that power plus science is awesome. You can use education for the wrong way, or you can use it for the right way. My background has been in power distribution, manufacturing engineering, process engineering, plant, food processing, automation, control engineering, that. So what we have in mind now with this scripture is going into East Africa and give them something that they don't have. In other words, if I want to sell you something, I gotta know what you don't have. I gotta know that it's almost a sell before I even walk into you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I did all this thinking. I know what Africa needs. I know it. I've been there 3 times, but I know what they need. So that's what I'm gonna sell them. That's exactly what I'm gonna sell them. I'll tell you the 3 things they need. Now, I'm not an African. I mean, I'm my ancestors, yes, but I can tell you. Number 1, they need a skilled young labor force. Their labor force is under 30. They don't have skills though. Give them skilled young labor force. That's number 1. I can do it. 2, what's the problem? They have a brain drain. People are leaving. They get educated and you ain't got nothing for me. I'm leaving. So that's a problem. I can help them with that. That's 2. And lastly, I can help them with something. I can increase their GDP, gross domestic product. Why? By manufacturing. I've been around nothing but manufacturing in the United States. General Electric, General Motors, Square D, Schneider Electric. I worked at all them companies. They're manufacturing big dogs. So my thought is, what does Black people have today that we didn't have in 1555? We didn't have education like we have today. We have graduated from Purdue, Yale, Princeton. All over the United States, Black people have. We are a living resource. So we take a group of skill resource into East Africa. Just a few products I want to manufacture. Say an electrical switch. All the products of an electrical switch is there. The rubber, the copper, all the metal, everything is there. We manufacture, we put them on whatever country we go to, they'll want it because I'll give them a deliverable. What will we get? You get a manufacturing plant, Mr. Country. What do you want, Abraham? I want land for my people. I want land for Black Americans. So in exchange for a vocational school, in exchange for a manufacturing plant, in exchange for a food processing plant, putting the latest technologies of irrigation in your country, I want some land, 1,000 square miles of land for a land settlement for Black people. We've never known freedom. I don't know what it means to be free. I don't know. I've been to Egypt and I can experience it for 2 weeks. I've been to Tanzania, I can experience it for a month, but when I come back to America, I'm in slavery again. But the life of an engineer is the best life there is. We can take that into Africa because that's what they need. Those 3 things. We sell it to them. Right now I have a book. That's my latest book, From America to a New Africa. Don't want to go to the Africa the way it is. You don't use very much electricity. And a continent, Africa uses less electricity than any other continent. Even South America uses more electricity than Africa, but all the resources in Africa, all of them. 21st century vision for Black America. That's the first. It explains what from a science perspective, what is our problem? I see the problem as this. Black Americans, we use pity as an argument. We use pity as a strategy. Pity is not a strategy. You gotta have a weak voice, a small voice, but a strong stick. And we have a strong stick.
Yes, sir.
Black Americans are highly educated. We have ability. We've worked for the white man very good. I worked for General Electric very good. Now we can do that same kind of work in Africa. I want to bring the skills of manufacturing into Africa. I want to bring the skills of electronics into Africa. I mean, particular. I don't want a big paintbrush because I know Africa is not utilizing electricity. They're scared of it. They're scared of a spark. And I would be scared of it too if I didn't know a lot about it. I'd be scared of it, but I know a lot about it. So in my conclusion, I'm happy to be here. The company is called International African American Workforce, IAAW. We have a website, IAAWNationBuilding.services. We are a young nonprofit company, a little over a year old. We're like the little baby elephant. The big elephant's got to kind of watch us so we don't get squashed on right now. But we're growing in membership. We got about 50 members. We're growing. We look to be a big deal. as things shift in the Nation of Islam and the Trump saga. I think more people are going to want to go to Africa, and they're going to be listening to us. I'm here because we want to offer our resources, because I think that manufacturing is the way to go in Africa.
Yes, sir.
I want to thank you, and you can look at us. You can look us up. It's called IAAW, International African American Workforce. You can look us up and join us, get involved.
Thank you so much. Let's go. Thank you so much, Mr. Abraham. Let's give all our guests a hand, a strong hand. We're going to turn it back to Atlanta. Last word, Ambassador Tony, since you're on from Africa, last word, then we turn it back to Atlanta. But I want Atlanta to know that we're standing up and that we're organizing all over the country, and we're organizing through the meeting of the minds, and we're lifetime organizers, and you're going to have a response on several levels to what's happening to our people. Don't give up hope. There's some strong organizers on every level who are now putting their heads together and taking a stand on behalf of our people. Ambassador Tony, you got the final word. You have to come off mute, my brother.
Ambassador Tony Jaja, can you mute your speaker, your speaker?
Unmuted. You might have to go out and come back in.
Can you unmute your speaker, Comrade
Yeah.
Jaja?
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Yes.
You got the final word here, sir, before we turn it back to the live audience in Atlanta. And thank all our guests for taking this time out.
Yeah, thank you, Comrade Malik, and all the audience in Atlanta, and brothers and sisters. In the course of the Black community worldwide, I will not take much to talk to or to say much, because we have been sitting here for long now, and people are waiting there in the hall. I just want to say thank you, Comrade Chris Sankara, for introducing me to Pan-Africa Worldwide Movement Group with their different organizations. I'm Ambassador Dr. Tony Jaja, original from the Sudan, which was the old Sudan, but now we are independent country since 2011. We call it South Sudan, but all of us, we call ourselves Sudanese. And I've been advocating in Pan-African cause, pushing for years now, and advocating for the African to have a permanent seat in the Security Council. And this is what we have been talking to many leaders in Africa. I met many presidents here in Africa without mentioning their names. But my words and my encouragement to them is for us to be totally independent. And this is what we have been facing. As Brother Chris said, a lot of sanction has been made for African leaders, economic sanction, like what they did to Zimbabwe to destroy the economic of Zimbabwe, like what they did to South Africa. South Africa, until today, they are still struggling because they are not controlling their own economy. Is a white supremacist still controlling everything. And it's the same thing that we have to be very straightforward as a community of the Black people worldwide. We know in Africa as a continent, we are 5 regions, plus this eco-region, which is called eco-6 diaspora people, or the African descent from Caribbean, from America, and different parts of the world where the African are residing. And this time, we know that every organization is offering a lot of things to do for the African community, whether it's a Black Panther organization, so Black Panther movement, or party, or Black Lives Matters. So we have been following all these things. And my program has been focusing in Eastern Horn of Africa for peace and security in this area. And that's why I've been able to meet many presidents here in West Africa and in East Africa here, and even in the Arab countries. And this is the good thing, that we have to come together. And as we have been talking a lot, and I have a lot of things to say, but I have to put it in short words. It's good to unite. We have been talking a lot. There's a lot of talk, what is called a talk show and not the workshop. The talk shop is always there. We talk, and we don't come with the solution to put what is next to do. That is what is facing Africans from time to time. We think about everything that we are going to do in this. This is the agenda we are going to implement. This is the agenda, what we are going to do. And this is the resolution that we are going to pass to work together and to do this 1, 2, 3. Recently, there was the head of a state African Union Summit. And the slogan of this year is justice for Africa and justice to the African descent. And they are talking about the reparation. It's not only for a group of people, but for the whole Africans and African descent. So we have to have justice always, like Brother Malik has been in this department, and that is his professional, and others are there. It's really what we are looking for Africa is to bring back the knowledge, is to bring back the science, is to bring back what our brother Abraham just said, Jamal Abraham just said about this is what we have to bring back to Africa. The education, the technology, this is what is facing us now. Now we are using technology of others, but can we develop ourselves as an African? So when we have to have a platform to talk, we will not use any technology that can be disrupted by everybody else. Like what they did to the Pan-African Stream TV when the Secretary of State went and they shut it down because they said they are focusing about the Black agenda. So we have to have our own platform. We have to have our own media. And this is what we have been talking to leaders here in Africa. Africa has all things, not only the mineral resources that we have even whatever to use for medicine is there. All these remedies that have been used for medicine, we have it in Africa because we are the original human being on this planet. So we know what we have. And that is why we are not able to move on 1 inch to establish ourselves, to be strong, and to have one voice, and to be strong to ourselves.
Yes,
so
sir.
What we have to do today is good because the time is going now. It's good for us to take action. It is time for us to turn over so that we can take over. This is the time for us. Nobody will give you free. You have to take it, whether it's by force or by any means, so that you can have your own sovereignty in yourself. Yes, you have been struggling until when we have been talking about justice and job in America, or in Caribbean, or in South America, or we need justice in Africa, or we need our independent economical. Nobody will give it to you unless you have to put your roadmap, and you have to put your vision, and you have to put whatever we said in action. So the time is the time for action and time for unity. Unity will not come by another person. We have to bring it ourselves. So thank you for giving this platform to share my thought with you. And I believe the time is now not to be wasted. God bless you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for let's give all our guests a black hand. Thank you. We're going to turn it back to Atlanta. I would like all the guests to put your information and contacts or websites into the chat of this Zoom. And if you want to continue to watch the program for Atlanta, we'll watch it through Sheikh Akbar's screen, and you can watch it if you desire. But other than that, we want to thank everybody. We're getting organized. We again want you to join the Afro-Descendant Nation Skills Bank. By doing that, you will help joining the movement that's developing here in America. We're trying to pull everybody that has talent to fight this problem together. We are a part of the worldwide Pan-African movement. God bless everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. I'll be in town. You can see me at the Savior's Day for the Nation of Islam in Atlanta under the Honorable Silas Muhammad and the Afro-Descendant Nation meeting on Campbellton Road. I turn you back over to our officials in Atlanta. We're sorry for taking so much time, but we hope you're encouraged. And to all my friends and allies who are on this Zoom, I let you know that we are, and I am, 100% committed to digging out of this situation. Thank you, Brother Baba Commander Amun. Thank you, Chris Sankara. Thank you, Sister Queen Melina Abdullah. Thank you, Brother Abraham. Thank you, Brother Sinclair. Thank you, Brother Ramzu. Thank you, John Barnett, Elder Memoji Ajabu, Imam Akbar, the Panther Party. We can win, and we're going to dedicate ourselves to winning. Thank you, and Black Power. Y'all can stay on if you desire. Black Power.